Hello everyone, and welcome to my Hardcore Mage guide. In this guide, I'll talk about the different talent trees that I use at low and max level, different tips and tricks, the professions, but also race I prefer to choose, macros, and a lot of other stuff. And I've also made a timeline, so you can easily skip to the part that you're looking for. So the first thing I would like to talk about is some different tips and tricks that will help you level up your mage even easier and faster. Getting a wand early on is going to be important. You can either craft this as an enchanter, purchase it on the auction house, do a quest, or even purchase one at a vendor. You can find one of these wand vendors either in Stormwind City, Ironforge, Undercity, or Orgrimmar, and I've made a complete wand guide for low-level characters, and you can find this in the description. In some cases, it can be difficult to kill one specific target if there's a lot of other nearby creatures, but there's an easy way to fix this. If you start with an AoE ability, then these creatures will not be linked together. This allows you to cast a Fire Blast and kite away, and at some point all the other enemies will start to evade. This trick can be so useful when you need to kill one specific enemy, but remember, it only works when you do an AoE ability. But look what happens if I use a single target ability. Now all of these are also linked together, so I'm not able to do the same trick any longer. Instead, they will try to chase me down, and every time I apply a Fire Blast to one of these, then the evade time will also reset for all of them. So what you're forced to do is to run away and reset the fight completely, else you'll most likely end up dying. Alright, so as a mage you can create different portals, and these you can use together with your party members. So why portals are so important in hardcore is because you can use these in combat. So let's say you have to attempt a difficult boss either in a dungeon or a raid, or if you have to do a difficult quest where you need to loot an object but you would like to get away fast, then you can take advantage of these portals. So if your tank dies, or if it's going to be a difficult situation and you would like to make an emergency exit, then you can run to the portal and get to the main city without dying. So here's a trick you can start using at low level. I usually pull with Fireball and then a Frostbolt. This will allow me to pull the target, and right as it starts moving to me, it will also be slowed. This will allow me to cast 1 to 2 additional spells before the enemy gets to me. This will prevent some damage, but also allow me to cast without getting interrupted. As a mage, you can create your own water, but when you reach level 5, 15, 25 and so on, then you will not be able to create this new water. Therefore, I usually purchase it at the vendor for a couple of levels before I can go to the trainer and learn this. This is because the water that I can conjure is only going to be level 5, so it's going to be a lot worse compared to the vendor water. So I usually do this for a couple of levels before I can go to the trainer and learn the new rank of conjure water. Polymorph is unlocked when you reach level 8. And this is such a game changer, because now you can start CCing targets and loot different objects at the same time. This is also super useful when you combine it together with gather professions, for example if you need to pick up an herb that is protected by a nearby enemy. As you level up, you will slowly unlock new ranks of the same spells, for example Cone of Cold and Frost Nova. But why it's going to be important not always to use the highest ranks is because these also cost a lot more mana. So whenever I would like to keep a slow effect on these targets, or maybe stack them together with Frost Nova, then I simply just use rank 1. Because the CC duration and slow effect and duration is the exact same no matter what rank you use. You just end up having a lot more mana because you used a low rank. In case you plan to level up as an AoE mage, then I would highly recommend you to get items with a lot of stamina and intellect. These two stats will help you a lot as an AoE mage, as you get a higher health and mana pool in case you make a mistake. Another thing I would highly recommend you to get is First Aid, and this is no matter how you plan to level up a mage, because bandages can be used in combat to heal. So for example right after you frost over targets, or maybe sheep a target, then you can heal yourself and get back into the fight. Here's a quick tip with Blizzard. So when you place the first Blizzard, you could always press the key binding and not move your mouse. That way you'll be able to see the green circle, and this will indicate where your Blizzard are hitting. So this is an easy way to track if all the enemies are still inside the Blizzard. And whenever the enemies get close to you, you either move to the left or to the right. Now the enemies will be stacked way better, and next you will need to do a new Frost Nova followed by a Blizzard. I have a complete Mage AoE leveling guide from level 1 to 60, and you can find this in the description below this video. As a mage, I feel like it's so important to use macros, but also add-ons, especially mouse over macros. This allows you not to swap target, but instead you drag over your mouse to the target you would like to attack. For example, either sheep, counterspell, or something else. And if you wish to make it even easier, then you can also install two different add-ons, Omni CC and Big Debuff. What they do is that they allow you to track your CCs a lot easier, either over the nameplate or, for example, the target portrait. And you can also see the cooldowns of your spells at your action bar. These will be displayed with different numbers. This is such a huge game changer, and especially useful whenever I do a dungeon, so I never miss a CC and I always keep track of my polymorph. Next up is the different talent trees that I like to use when I level up a mage. And the first build that I will show you is my single target damaging spec. This is where I mainly put all my points into Frost. As a Frost mage, you can level up so easily, especially because you're going to control the fight and you're going to do a lot of damage. In my opinion, this is probably one of the easiest, but also safest ways to level up in hardcore, but you could always make it a bit more of a challenge and try as an AoE mage. This is how I usually like to level up my mage, because it's way more risky, but also so much more rewarding, because you can level a lot faster and also farm a ton of gold if you AoE farm. It will of course be difficult to reach level 60 as an AoE mage. Therefore, I would also highly recommend you to watch my Mage AoE leveling guide, so you get some more knowledge and some different tips and tricks. Next up is the different professions I would like to choose as a mage. Myself, I will probably pick herbalism and alchemy, so I can make my own potions. This will especially be useful if you make a big mistake, because then you can just use a potion to either restore a lot of health or mana. Another option would be to go mining and engineering, so you can craft the different grenades to stun targets and do AoE damage, but also a way for you to survive if you make a mistake. This can especially be useful if you make the target dummies. These will taunt all nearby enemies, so you can run away without dying. But then again, the Frost Mage is so easy to level, so you shouldn't really need these kind of things. Therefore, tailoring and enchanting might be a better choice if you plan to go deep Frost. That way, you can craft your own items and also enchant your gear to increase your character's performance. If you plan to AoE, then I would highly recommend you to go for alchemy and herbalism. So what is the best race to play? Well, as an alliance, there's no doubt. I definitely would recommend you to play Gnome, as you get 5% more intelligence, but also escape artist. So if you're against a monster in hardcore that will root you, then you can use this racial to get out of the root, for example if you need to make an emergency exit. And as a horde player, I would definitely play Troll, as you get Berserker, which is also super beneficial at max level. Undead used to be such a good choice in Classic because of PvP and the racials, but in hardcore you're not really going to PvP, so therefore Troll is way stronger this time. As a mage, it's also important that you get hit capped. So when you reach level 60, you should try to aim for 16% hit. This will of course be so difficult, but an easy way to get 6% hit is with elemental precision, so spend 3 points into this to get 6% hit. If you enjoyed this video, then you might definitely also like some of my other hardcore guides, for example gold making, leveling tips and tricks, and other useful things. And in the description, you will also find a link to my WoW Classic Hardcore Gold Making Guide. As always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!